When it comes to running Facebook ads, first you need to make sure that you have a Facebook business page. So this is my Facebook business page. And so to get here, just from your homepage, there should be a little pages button, or there's an option along the side as well. But I'm going to go to my page, and then on the left is this toolbar. Now, Facebook does update this fairly frequently. So your dashboard might look slightly different than mine, but they never change it too drastically. You should be able to find all of these things, even if they update this going forward. So over here on the left, we're going to go to Ad Center. You're going to click this drop down and you're going to click audiences. Now you can click all ads and see your ads that are running, but we are not going to do that because we need to first narrow our audiences. So over here in the top, make sure it has your correct ad account. If you have multiple ad accounts, those will appear there as well. So these are all of the audiences that I have narrowed here, but we're going to create a new one for this. I'm going to call this one testing. Now, when it comes to gender, I typically stick to one or the other for each ad. So basically, when I make one ad, I'll do men and then I'll make the same ad with all of the same components and I'll pick women. That way, it just narrows down who it's being shown to, and you have more data. You can tell whether or not it's worth it to spend your money on one or the other. So, for our example, I'm going to stick to women. And for my example, I'm going to be targeting teachers. So, for me, I'm going to stick with teaching ages, which are 22. And then I don't want anybody too close to retirement. So, I'm going to do 22 to 55. Now, this is still pretty broad. If you're targeting new moms, I would stick with, ages 20 to 35 ish, give or take. If you, and then run a separate ad for 35 and up. The more specific you are, the better because it's going to give you really good data on who is buying your book, who's interested in your book, and where to spend your money. So, for this ad, I've got women between these ages and then locations. The thing to keep in mind with locations is yes, you can pick multiple locations, but when you run an ad, I always send them to Amazon because that's where I want my sales, that's where I want my reviews. But if I pick the United States and the UK, and the link I provide is a US Amazon link, then anyone in the UK who clicks it will get an error code. I don't want that. That's a waste of my money because I pay per click. So if you're going to do other countries, then what you need to do is either make sure you're using a universal Amazon link or that you are using a separate country's link in each ad. So I'm going to stick with the United States for this ad and then detailed targeting. So first, I need to make sure that they even like children's books. So I'm going to do like books for kids, an interest that looks good. Okay, 270,000 people. Awesome. Let me see if I can get more. Let's try like children's literature. Oh, look, there's an interest there. Perfect. Now, once you have one or two things in here, if you hit suggestions, it'll show you some things. So, ooh, picture book is an interest. Perfect. Children's books, but as a field of study, not necessarily because that's going to be like other authors, and other authors aren't my target audience. So fairy tales, maybe if mine is a fairy tale, the book I'm going to advertise for this example is not, so I'm going to skip that one. Storytelling. The only thing with storytelling is it doesn't have to be a book. It can be word of mouth. So if that doesn't fit yours very well, early childhood education. Now that is awesome, but I first want to make sure that they're interested in books. So that one I'm going to come back to. So I think I've got a pretty good base here. I could put books, but it's not children's books. So if I just put books, they could be interested in adult novels. And I want to be as specific as possible. So I'm going to stick with these three: books for kids, children's literature, and picture books. So right now, my ad will only be shown to women between the ages of 22 and 55 in the United States who are interested in one of these three things. This is the important part. You need to narrow your audience. So I'm going to target music teachers because my book is a musical picture book. So I already have the component. They have to like kids books. And now I'm going to try like music education. Music education is a field of study. I want music teachers, so that works. So now if I go to suggestions, music education is a school, eh. Music education is a job title, perfect. Music teacher, instrumental music teacher is a job title. Music education is an interest. Um, okay, so now I have 100,000 people. This is a good estimation of where you want to be. Keep it around 100,000 people. If you have too few, you're just not going to be shown to very many people because remember, you're not going to be shown to all 100,000 people. This is just the potential pool here. So now my ad is going to be shown to women between these ages in the United States who fit one of these interests and also match one of these demographic areas. So that's pretty good. If I wanted to narrow it further, I could do that. So an example here would be, let's say I don't want to target music teachers. I'm going to narrow my audience, and this time I want to target parents. If you go to browse, you go to demographics, under parents, you can select all parents, but remember that's going to include teenagers. You can just select new parents. You can just select early childhood age. I'm going to do preschoolers and early school age. So now my ad is going to be shown to women between these ages in the United States who fit one of these criteria and who is a parent of a child either between the ages of 6 and 8 or is a parent between the ages with a kid between the ages of 3 and 5. I can narrow it even further if I want because look, I'm almost at 300,000. So if I were to narrow further and hit browse, I can look through their interests again, but I can also look at behaviors. So here, I can add their purchase behavior. I can click on engaged shoppers. So now my size has shrunk again. So now I'm only being shown to women between these ages in the United States who are interested in children's books, who are a parent with a child between these ages, and who's an engaged shopper on Facebook. That's going to be much more successful than if I had just stuck with who's interested in children's books. Now, once again, this is still a little bit broad because, yes, they are interested in children's books. And yes, they have children within these ages, but I didn't include anything that would match to the topic of my book. So if I were to narrow it further, let's say I pick music as an interest. Let me see, like maybe children's music. Let's see, is that one? I don't know. Yep, children's music is an interest. So now I still have a good sized pool of people, but they are all going to be interested in children's books. Have a child between those ages. They're going to be engaged shoppers on Facebook and they're going to be interested in children's music. So now I know that the people who are being shown my book are going to be the most likely to be not only interested in it, but be the most likely to purchase it. So then I would hit save and it would save this as an audience for me to use later in an ad. I've set up our audience. We're going to actually go and make an ad. So you can make as many audiences as you would like because you can reuse these. So now I'm going to go to the ad center and I'm going to hit create ad. Now, the problem with automated ads is that you're going to spend more money than if you were to create a new ad yourself. But you can get started with automated ads if you choose. Boosting a post is great for really short term engagement or to gain more followers. But again, this is a much more short term solution. You only want to boost a post for a handful of days at a time, maybe a week at a time. So we're going to hit create ad and then you are going to pick your goal. I always select get more website visitors. And what I do is for the website, I enter in my Amazon link there because I want to send people to Amazon. The thing is, you can put your own website here, but the more steps that your customers have, the less likely it is for them to purchase, the less likely these clicks are going to convert. So if I send them to my website, which then sends them to Amazon, now I have one more place I could lose them between them getting to my book and purchasing it. So you want as few steps as possible to ensure the most likely chance of them purchasing your book. If you would like more page likes or more leads or things like that, you can give those a try. But the thing to keep in mind is you're not going to see a return on that investment. So once again, these are the type of things that are good if you would like to run something short term, like a week long contest or something like that. But for more longer term things, you're going to want to pick website visitors. Then you're going to create your ad creative. Now, this just copied and pasted my bio. You would like to put something else in here instead about your book. So something catchy. You want to sell them on this point. Pick whatever book you're going to have and write something catchy here that will catch their attention. Now, for selecting media, you can pick something that's already on your website. You can even pick if your Instagram is hooked up. You can pick things you posted on Instagram. You can use stock images if that's helpful to you. You can pick pictures from your page. So you can use any of that content to create what you need. I will say that for the highest engagement, I've found that videos, because they auto scroll or they autoplay when people scroll through. So videos tend to catch attention very nicely. So whenever possible, try to use a video. Then you're going to pick a headline. Again, you want something catchy. This is usually a good place to put what your book is about. So this is Rhythm Rescue. So I might put something like, interactive musical picture book. Or you can do your call to action here as well. So here is what my sample ad will look like at this point. You'll see there's a sign up button. I don't want a sign up button. I would like a either shop now or a learn more. Again, this is something depending on your audience you're going to want to experiment with. Sometimes you'll find that you'll get more clicks and more conversions by using learn more, and sometimes you'll have the same result with shop now. It really depends on who your target audience is and what type of a book you have. But those two are going to be your best bet. Now, if you have a different type of ad, like let's say you have a free download, then the download, would be the best bet. If you are running a free ebook promotion, this would be a great one. If you are trying to promote yourself as an author or your imprint, something like that, you might use the contact us button. But for the most part, we're going to stick with learn more or shop now. And here's where you would put your website URL. Remember that if you selected multiple countries, this website URL needs to be a universal link. Otherwise, most of the people are going to get an error code. So if you've only picked the US, then you can just do the US here. The thing to keep in mind is you need to use a clean link. A clean link on Amazon means that you have deleted everything after the ASIN. And that's really important because if you don't do that, then Amazon will actually track the people who click on that link and it will flag their reviews. So if you found that people are saying they leave reviews and they're not appearing, it might be because you did not send a clean link. So, universal link or a clean link need to be here. Then you are going to pick your audience. I do not recommend using Smart Audience because while it claims that it will customize it, if you notice, they just they didn't narrow the audience. So this will be shown to people who are interested in picture books or storytelling or are interested in arts and music or are interested in ebooks. That's too broad. Somebody who's interested in ebooks might be interested in adult novels. That doesn't help me. So you can do people you choose through targeting and hit the edit button. But the problem you'll see here is there's no narrow button, which is why we made our audience beforehand. So instead, we are going to we're just going to hit the drop down and you're going to pick the audience that you made earlier. You can also target people who like your page or people who like your page and their friends. For now, I'm just going to pick one of these and you can see people who match one of these qualities. and must match also one of these qualities and must also match one of these qualities. This is my super narrow audience here. Then you are going to choose how long your ad is going to run. You could pick an end date or you can just set the number of days. This is the thing to be careful of. Sometimes with this listing, it will ask for this number per day. So right now, this daily budget is listed at $5. So if you look over here, this ad as is would spend $25. But sometimes they list this as the total budget. So if you get an error, just double check whether it says daily budget or total budget. I tend to keep this on the low side because I tend to run a lot of ads. So I do $1 a day, and unlike Amazon AMS, Facebook will take $1 a day if you give it to them. So I stick to $1 or $2 a day, and then I tend to do shorter term, like 10 to 15-day ads. But at first, remember you want to do some experimenting and see which audiences are you getting the most clicks from? Where are you getting the most engagement? So at first, you're going to want to run several different types of ads at different lengths, at different prices, and really figure out what is working for you and what isn't. So, as is for a 5-day ad at $1 a day, they're estimating I'll get between 2 and 11 clicks per day, and it will reach 120 to 346 people per day. And that's estimated. So, it could be more, it could be less. If you go here, you can also make sure that your ad is being seen other places. If you're linked with Instagram, this is another way to run Instagram ads. But if you just want it to appear on Facebook, you can unclick these. And you'll notice that it dropped the number of people that I reached by doing that. If you have a Facebook pixel, you can hook it up here. I do have one for this ad account. And what a Facebook pixel does, the short version, is that it will use the data from where you have the pixel located. So I put the pixel on my author website and it will target them in addition to your audience here. And then you want to make sure your payment method is all set up. And that is how you create an Amazon ad.